In the first place, is there any rehab, any class to find out what is the mental, what is the education aptitude here? Can everyone can learn. Everyone can learn, but there is no learning. There's no mandatory. It should be mandatory classes. You got to learn that before you can get out. So it's up to you to get yourself out. I think people would learn to read. You come in here, you're going to have to learn how to read this, read the dictionary backwards and all that. They will come out of there. All right. And work at hard labor. They'll never go in. So you gotta have the rules in order to play the game, and the rules aren't tough enough because they're not on a chain gang. If they were, they would never go back in there. There's something in there.
Well, no, Michelle, there was a time even on the chain gangs where it was unfair. The other issue for this, another reason for this, is the disproportionate number of Black men and brown men and Black women and brown women in prison. And that disparity has existed for a very long time, and many groups have been fighting for some kind of equity. Is everyone going to be happy with this? No. Will it address all situations? No. But you have to do something, and you have to do something that works better for the greater good than for something that could continuously put children at risk. We were just talking about something on Wanda's last show with Andrea, and where Margot also talked about the fact that the women who are incarcerated, where their children are not being able to come see them, and that happens with the men too. What people don't realize is that even if they're in prison or incarcerated for 6 years, 5 years, that's not the rest of their life. These individuals have a right to come out, and they have a right to come out and be treated fairly. Many of them, again, the punishment was way beyond the crime, but that they were caught up in a system that was broken. Is it going to fix everything? No. Is it going to make everyone happy? No. But again, we have to do something. We can't continue on this path.
Well, that makes sense. We can't continue on this path. Too many of us dying too quickly and being punished for too long compared to other folks. I mean, look how many folks, we're the majority in the system. We're the majority in most issues. So it's time that we do something. We have to change how we're being, incarcerated. How we're being treated. We have to change that. We have to change that. What say you, Sarah? I haven't heard from you this evening.
There's Roxy.
Hey,
my opinion on that is, well, obviously Illinois is different from New York, but I believe that just listening on the news when they were saying with Chicago, what they're supposed to be doing on January 1st, that what's supposed to be going on with that, and just when seeing that, like how they're letting the people out of prison, I don't agree with letting like rapists or the child molesters out, because that's a disease. They're never going to get rehabilitated. And I think that if they choose to let them out, they need to be that, like I know Minnesota has it where if you are with a child molest, like if you have child molesting charge that they don't let you write out in the public. You have to actually go through a program
There you
before
go.
they'll even let you out. So I think that in that situation to let them out, I think that just has it, just because I know it was something that my cousin was saying they had let rapists out, and I guess they had ended up raping somebody when they got out, because it's a disease. You're never going to get cured from that. So in that situation, I think that my personal opinion, the book should be thrown at them on that if it's repeated. So I don't agree on that. The other stuff as far as in with the drug charges, it's ridiculous that you have somebody in there that was selling drugs that are in there for more time who's somebody who has rape or murder. So I just think that they just need to do a little bit on the laws to just have, different people look into that.
Right.
And a lot of the people that are in prison that done time have made, done successful stuff in there that maybe can get out and have people that are, they can start a program for the people that are getting out to help them to be able to get back into society too. I just think they throw them out too fast and expect them to just be normal. They're institutionalized, and you can't just get out and expect somebody to mingle with, regular people. So I just think it's a setup. It's a kind of setup for the individuals in prison on that end.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Lionel, you had something else you wanted to add?
Really, I just really think that you have to look at the government and the money. Now, many of you know that the institutions in Illinois, as well as the institutions around the country, many of these institutions are privatized and they receive money. These private prison keepers receive money. Many times there are contracts which require that the population, that it be 90% occupied. Otherwise, they have to pay extra money. You also have to look at the impact of the taxes. The more people that are in the prisons, notwithstanding the fact that we don't want people that are out here harming people, out on the street, but the less people, the less money, and the less taxes. At the highest level, through the entire intergovernmental system of state, county, city, township, village, all of these institutions are facing crises with pensions. And that's why our taxes are constantly going up. Services are constantly being cut. So anything that you can do to reduce that burden, it comes back to the individuals in a reduction of taxes. But as I said, I believe that violent people, they should be required to pay a cash bond. And I believe that nonviolent crimes, that they should not have to. But if a person repeats the same crime after they've been released, then I believe that they should also be required to pay a cash bond.
Once bit, twice shy.
All right.
You know what I think is the major flaw with the whole penal system is that just being locked up, just being punished for something doesn't remove the reason why you did the crime. So whatever it is, whether it's a severe crime of assault, whether it be physical assault or sexual assault, or if it's a petty theft crime, either way, there was a reason. And if while you're locked up, you're not given some type of help, whether it's counseling, emotional help, educational help, and some change that's going to happen in your life when you get out, then just being locked up does nothing to keep the society safe. You're coming out just as bad or worse than you were when you went in, because your problem is still there. And you've got compound problems by being in an environment where you were probably assaulted yourself. And so you have even more emotional damage. So until the jails and the prisons themselves are places where you can be healed of the damage inside of you that made you commit the crime, then we're just locking people up. And like Lionel said, there's a financial incentive to keeping the jails full, which is an incentive for the criminal justice system not to be just, because you have people who are prosecuting, they have a financial incentive to get more convictions because that increases their worth. And then you have the same thing with the judges and all of the things that people are doing in the name of criminal justice really has nothing to do with keeping the people safe, because if we were trying to keep the people safe, we would help those who are committing the crimes.
Come on, Naima. That's a good assessment.
Now,
I like that.
This Grady again. I have to agree with Naima.
I like that.
She's on
Naima.
point. She's on point.
Help them. But
That's all I'm gonna say.
they
She's
did it for
on
some
point.
reason.
Come on, can we line back up with this? With this is real serious here.
Huh? What'd you
Is
say,
Mr.
Marshall?
Is Mr. Yessie still on?
Yes, he is.
Because he was highly involved with a lot of people who in schools that helped turn around a lot of people. This is very, very serious because I sit on the southeast side, and every day, all day long, you're hearing gunshots going off all over the place. So this is not a joke. This shit is real. And these people are hurting people out here. And I think that they should have, along with the programs that Naima mentioned, that's already in existence, but it's not enough. Just like housing. Housing, they're coming out of prison and they don't have enough housing to house the men that are coming.
Right.
So they're moving into these apartments with these people, and they're violating their leases. And they're losing their lease, and they're homeless again. As fast as you put them in, they're coming right out of the seams of the place. They're going through the hallways, robbing people because they don't have a job. They don't have enough money right away. So, yeah, we need to have some think tanks and think about long-term situations before they go right back into the population where you have seniors, disabled people in the building. You know, we got this legal marijuana that's out here, medical marijuana, whatever you want to call it. They're smoking it in buildings that you're not supposed to smoke in. So now you just violated your lease. Because the person, because the person next to you has severe lung issues, so she can't filter what you enjoy getting high off of, or whether or not it's your medical pain issue. Or whatever. So you got to look at all these dynamics.
Okay.
So I think this is a great opportunity for all of us to maybe look into opening up some programs or getting some programs out here to help these people. Other than that, there's going to be a lot of death out here.
Well, you got a lot of organizations that's claiming to be doing just what you talk about.
Well, I don't think it's enough of them.
Challenge them.
No, they need some more.
If I may say,
Go ahead, Brian.
okay, I got the paper the other day, yesterday, I think either yesterday or day before yesterday, and it was an article in there from Mary Mitchell. And she said now maybe R. Kelly can get the help that he needs. I am going to say, and I've kind of seen this, and it touches upon something Naima says. Criminal justice reform is needed, not just on the state level, but even on the federal level.
Absolutely.
And really, just to be blunt, in my personal view, from having interacted with as many male and female inmates, and a lot of them, I will say, in fact, if not all of them, with the exception of maybe one, are people of color. And I will say that the system, in a lot of ways, it's set up for recidivism.
Okay. Okay.
Because when they get out, jobs are not being, like one of the other ladies was saying, jobs are not being provided. Social service help is not being provided. Now, of course, the individual has to want to change. Don't get me wrong. But if you are not giving them the adequate resources that they need, then what are they going to, I mean.
What else can they do?
Before they get out.
Before they get out, okay, and like Mary Mitchell was saying, okay, and like Mary Mitchell was saying, maybe R. Kelly can get the help that he needs first.
Right.
He not only needs mental help, but he also needs to overcome the literacy challenges that he
Yeah,
has.
because he said he was illiterate.
Right.
We
Okay.
sure can't
Now,
say.
He said
now there needs to be programs in these prisons, not just for
housing.
not just for to help them with literacy, to help them overcome the mental issues that they have, and to teach these people some skills, how to work with their hands.
Right.
How to start their own business
Thank you.
instead of
Thank you.
trying to go work for somebody that's not going to hire them because of their past.
Thank you. Thank you. And see all of these things, all of these things, whether it be self-employment or even employment, for school of further education, higher education for ex-convicts, all of these things need to be put in place. I mean, because otherwise you're going to continue to have dismay, you're going to continue to have problems. And I say it's on, part of it is, it's not just the inmate, but also too, is part of it is the system. You have to give the people the resources that they need to make a change in order for them to change. Now, if they choose not to, that's on them. That's their choice.
Right.
Let me,
So Wanda, I'm gonna say this Grady. Can I just chime in just one more time? You heard the terms that crime pays, and I don't want to just say I'm agreeing with what Nakeem keeps saying, that crime pays. And she talked about the financial interest that everybody has. When somebody commit a crime, everybody gets paid, from the prosecutor to the defense attorney, the police, the sheriff, everybody gets paid. So there's no incentive to want to rehabilitate or whatever you call it, people to stop committing crime. So they keep this lack of economic activity, but it basically is still on us though. Just because the system is designed for us to go in there, that don't mean that we have to go in there, which means that we have to come up with our own plan to keep our people out of there.
We have to realize that at 3rd grade, they're testing our children to see where they're at mentally and what their focus is. And then they start building the jail cell for those kids. If those kids don't pass at 3rd grade, they start then identifying them as somebody who's going to go to prison.
Something else I'd like to share, people. I'm currently working with a woman who is incarcerated and she even has a video out on YouTube. I think it's still there, but nevertheless, she spent 9 years on death row for a crime that she repeatedly said she did not commit. She has the education. She has the education of which we'll call a 6th grader. Okay. And I believe I've touched on this subject before, but since we have more people on here, I can let them in on this.
But what are you trying to get us to do with telling this story, sir? See, this is what I'm saying. We tell the story. We keep telling sad stories over and over. We keep saying we have to do something. Okay, I understand. I'm not trying to not criticize it, but problem is that I'm talking. Hello.
We're listening.
Right. The problem is we keep saying we've been talking this way since the 60s, and the problem is that we don't know as a people. We don't know the answer to it, and it's not that hard. Okay, let me explain. And now it's going to take some work, of course. That you run communities, or you run a city, or you run the state, or you run the country, and people's understanding, knowing 6 institutions. They're called institutions. Okay, the first one is church, or synagogue, or a mosque. What are they? So what are they? Why you need them, and how do you run them? People don't know that. The second one is government. What is government? Why we need government? How do you run them? How does it work? Third is business. What is business? Why you need business? How does it work? The next one is what they call clinical healthcare. What is clinic? Why you need it? How does it work? Next is home. What is it? Why you need it? How does it work? And the last one is school, education. What is it? Why you need it? How does it work? We have not taken the time. We have not taken the time out. Like I said, if they got a health problem, that means that it was something they couldn't do and they broke down. Education is the key to all this. And they know this here. As the brother said, everything most of you all said is correct. I'm not disagreeing. But the question is how we solve it. Yeah.
Okay, well, again, you know, you can pass legislation at the legislation, but it's not going to legislate the way people think. It's on also
right. You can't legislate immorality. I got that. Okay, we know that. That's why you have to educate them. See, you have to educate people. You can't do certain things. And then, let me tell you where it went wrong. When we let the school teachers and the school unions put the blame on children not learning their schools on their parents. I don't care if they don't have parents. When a child walks through the doors of education, they're supposed to come out healthy, educated, productive citizens. They can't put my children, that's my children's education on me when I send them out there. And they get paid. The same thing with the court. Okay, like the brother said, everybody gets paid. They using case law and plea bargaining. See? And everybody get paid while the person that's there to get justice is sucker. So we could go on that. The question is, how do you resolve this? Well, let me just give you an idea. I think this is a dynamic avenue to start education. But you know what we need to do? We need to quit coming to the table repeating old problems. See, we are victims of
resolve solution. What happened?
Yeah, I think his connection.
Mm-hmm.
But one last thing I would say, I think it's been said, we have a lot of organizations that are doing the work. It just needs to increase. We have a lot of civic organizations, a lot of community organizations, a lot of faith-based organizations that are doing the work. They just need to be increased. And if that means the people support those institutions, then that's the way that we empower them to do more. Elected officials don't always have the vision. And like we said, a lot of them are financially benefiting from things the way they are. So if we want to protect ourselves, we have to care enough about the people who are suffering in this system and get them some help, get them some services, and empower those organizations that are doing the things that need to be done. Give those organizations our financial support.
Brian has his hand up, Wanda, and so does Triple P.
Okay. I was just saying, you know, in reference to the lady that I was speaking of, the system, in my opinion, failed her. It even failed her children. Okay. And yeah, I will admit, she did do some awful things before she was incarcerated. But this is a woman who, just like R. Kelly, was molested, okay, and did not get the proper help she should have gotten to be able to overcome that. Okay, so, you know, the educational system itself also needs a major overhaul, because like you say, anytime, you know, they can start testing kids in 3rd grade just to see where they're at mentally, to see if they're gonna end up in jail one day. I don't think that's appropriate either.
That's been going on for 40 years.
Okay, and also too, a lot of these so-called alternative schools or special ed schools, where a crack baby, somebody who was born addicted to crack, has to go there to do and ends up having to do remedial work, and chances are they don't want to do the remedial work. And like I told a Michigan attorney some time ago, I said that's a form of warehousing. Because you're not properly educating them and not giving them the academic challenges. Don't get me wrong, it starts at home, don't get me wrong, but when they get to school and they're not getting the same academic challenges and they're not being educated on the level of quote unquote normal people, then that's a form, that's a form of warehousing. It brings on frustration. They don't want to be there, they don't want to do it. And then they turn and then ultimately some of them ultimately end up turning to the streets. So,
have you ever sat, I just have one question. Anybody that's on this line, has anybody sat in a special ed class?
yes, I have.
Yes, I have.
So if the teacher is not educated to deal with that, and you got a classroom with 7 to 10 kids, children in there, you got a major issue in there.
Yes, you do.
And you can't control them if it's one teacher, and if the aide shows up to help her.
Okay.
Got some issues, major ones.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
We can't hear Wanda.
You can't hear me though. This is Jesse.
I can hear you. I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you, yes.
Okay. Look, let me say this here, again. We have a platform, but see, it's so broader than what we're talking about here. You get what you support. We walk around and we support the less of two evils. And if we're good people, you don't vote or do anything of the less of two evils. You leave evil alone and wait on righteousness' sake. We do what we blame in the past, we blame everybody, but we have to ask God, what ye I lack? I'm missing something that I can't get through. And the problem is now we're talking about we're going out to vote on abortion. We're losing people in the street every day in the hospitals, on the street, you name it. You don't even see black children running around in the street. You don't see infants in the summer. And we walk around talking about abortion is a health care. Abortion is murder. I'm not, but let me tell you, I know people and close people to me that have abortion. But I know murder. Now they're talking about girls as boys and boys as girls. We are so far gone from this. This is because we've been going along. We got to do something. Hell is paved with good intentions, you all. And we need to quit saying, look, all this social stuff, they were locking our children up, selling marijuana. Now the government is selling it and everybody's quiet because everybody's making a little money.
Right, and they ought to come out of jail. I said that.
We go along with evil because we don't put the righteousness in ourselves and say, male and female, does not live by bread alone. You have to have some morals. See, and that's what we need to push for. And this is what America's waiting on, for Black people to stand up. Everybody, every group out here have prostituted Black people. The homosexuals, the different culture groups, the ethnic groups, everybody. What Black did, what Black is man, they always bring us up. And once they get to going, they forget us. And I'm so tired of us getting up talking about people of color. I ain't thinking about nobody but Black people, okay? Everybody, I don't wish nobody wrong, but we need to just talk about ourselves. We talk about working. Ain't no Blacks out here working. Where you see Blacks in the streets working? Nowhere. But you find people that don't even speak English. See, talking about they don't spend billions of dollars on illegal immigrants, but don't spend no money into the Black community in education.
Hey Jesse, can I stop you? I love what you're saying. You know, some Black people gonna call you racist for saying that what you said. But now the immigrants,
I know I'm not a racist. See that?
Hello. So now they're saying the immigrants. So when did the immigrants turn to migrants? So you notice once they get across the border, I guess they are now migrants. So they're calling these people that cross the border illegally.
Right. You cannot start your citizenship out being a criminal. They lock us up when we're criminals, but they let other criminals go. look, I'm not against none of it, but let me tell you this here, okay? Until we step up, Black people have to step up. But our children, you say, they doing crime because of they don't have money. Well, we're supposed to teach them how to become creative. That's the educational system. All this here based. Look, listen to this. There was 3 educational systems that was in America. The first one was slave education. White folks superior, we inferior. So they pushed that. After the Civil War, there became separate but equal, segregated education. Okay? That we better y'all get over there and y'all support yourself, educate yourself. But then in the 60s, when the civil rights movement, the 3 things, the key things, segregation, right to vote, and open housing. You know what they set up then? They set up miseducation. And that's when they took all these black college, those school teachers, black college students out of the schools, because most of the colleges, black colleges, were trade schools. They took them and told they told us to go into education, social work, those type of liberal arts. And we came out and instead of teaching trade like we were dealing in the universities and stuff into the high school, they started teaching us Black history. And we don't even know it. And we've been down there. Black history, when you teach history from a racist, that's what I call it, standpoint, Kunta Kinte, the right to pass and all that. You teach hate into the children. You turn them away. Education is the doors of love, not the doors of bringing up hate. And this is what we have saw in the 50, 60 years, 3, 4 generations of us. And this is what we have come to. Now we're voting on to kill our baby, and then I'm a girl, but I was born a boy, and all that mess. And we need to come and just ask God, give me the strength to help change this thing. And let me tell you.
Well, what happens?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, now that you touched on the LGBTQ stuff, okay, a lot of the females, some of them that I have talked to who have engaged in that, will tell you 2 things. Number 1, it is more acceptable for 2 women to be together.
Okay, I'm gone.
I know the whole story.